Right, time for Hungaroring. Ooh, that was a little bit interesting moment. So I'm just going to talk about here. This track really emphasizes late apexing a lot, which is just staying straighter longer and then turning into the corner later than you think, really. So I'll try to give you a quick play-by-play here. I will say as well, caution lights are a very important thing that I use to index my braking and turn-in marks here. So here we go off the last corner, probably deeper than you think. That's a little bit of a diamond line, which I'll talk about using in this video as well. So we're going down to the front stretch. We're going to be looking for a 100. We get to the 100, brake, brake, brake. Stay out longer than you think. Stay out, stay out. And then come in. Make sure you can hug that curb. Look to the left side of the track. Keep the car on the left side of the track so you can accelerate. The reason you often spin out there is because you got too much wheel and too much gas. So past the 50, get it in. And this is way too wide. And now I'm pulling it back in. There we go. Got that recovered. Around this corner. Now this is a blind corner coming up ahead. We're going to hug the right-hand curb for just a moment and turn in after we've been on it for a moment. There we go. Get to about the middle of the track. Placement's not important. Evil curb on the right. I overdrive this corner on purpose to avoid that curb. Go to about the 50 and brake, brake, brake at the 50. Late turn. Get on the right curb. Curb. Accelerate. Now, this is a section where you use as little brake as possible going through here. It's got a nice, fun rhythm. Maybe just a little kiss of the brake. But you want to work on using as little brakes as possible as you go through these corners. And you'll see just a little bit of brake here, and it's longer than it would normally be because it's raining. We go down to the next corner. We're going to go to about 75. Brake, 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 brake. Stay out, stay out. Turn late. Try to avoid using this the overflow over there. Pass the bridge. Brake, brake, brake. Stay out, stay out. Pull it in. Try to diamond the corner off a little bit. Get back to the left side of the track. There's a caution light and a DRS line. Drive in kind of deep. Bring it in by the pit wall. Look to get to accelerating, and there we go. There's a lap, and now I'll give you the turn by turn.
Turn by turn around Hungary. So we're going down the front straightaway. We're going to be looking for the 100 sign, and there's also a caution box. I use these little caution boxes or whatever they are a lot at this track to index my braking. You're going to start your braking right as you go past 100. And you're going to hold a straight line braking for a very long time. There's a couple of things I use to tell me when to turn. This turn really lures me into turning early, and it's very important that you stay out late. There is a pavement seam right along in here. It's kind of hard to see in this bright light. And there's also an inside curb, and I kind of use my distance to that to tell me when to turn late. And you're just going to have to work out your timing so that as you come around a turn, your car is not trying to take you out to the outside too much. You should be able to kind of hug this inside verge line pretty tightly as you make this turn. And if you're not able to do that, then you need to work on moving your turn-in point down the track further, I think. Now, as you come off this exit, this is probably the easiest place in the whole track to break traction and just lose control of your car. What's important to me is actually where your eyes are on the screen. You want to be focusing on following this left verge line as much as you can, because if you're trying to pull the car back to this point, it's very, very easy for you to gun the car up and spin it out and end up crashing it into this wall and using a lot of replays. So if instead of focusing on this, if you realize there's a long time to get your car back to the right ahead, just focus on the left-hand line. And so see, there's plenty of time. We got back to the right. There's a lot of things to use. I'm going to be braking around that caution box ahead. You may prefer something that's a little bit more visible. I pretty much drive just past the 50 board until I start braking. And this is another very late apex. I index off of this inside curb, which is sort of friendly, but I don't think it's essential that you get on it. And you do want to get nice and tight to this. Now, there's a few things to pay attention to. One is that the track cambers down away from you, and it's a sharper turn than it initially looks like. And it's downhill, and it's off camber. And there's a lot of things about this corner that make it a lot slower than similar looking corners in this game. And I say it's very essential that you find a way to hold that car tight to this line, if not all the way around this corner, at least until you pass this corner worker station. Once you pass the corner worker station, you can let the car track out about a car's width off the inside of the track, as you can see, which is what I did on this particular lap. And you can let the car, and then you need to be able to make sure that however far you track out, that you're able to pull it right back to this line to make your turn for this right. Now, as you make, once you're wide open throttle here, you may need a light gap, probably not. But you should be able to stay wide open throttle around this right bend. Car placement is not crucial as long as you're staying within the track limits up there. There is a lot of runoff up there that you can't really see, but when you drive this, you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you're consistently driving over it, then work on trying to stay out to the left longer. You certainly shouldn't stay out left to the billboards, but you'll just have to find a line maybe along here somewhere is about where you'll be doing your turn in. So going up the next hill, this is the next crucial point. Now, you'll be going uphill and you'll see this right-hand curb for a while. And I don't really have a count to one like I've said in previous videos, but I just kind of go a moment into this curb. And you may notice I still have an ever so slight right kink to the wheel because I try to follow this curb around just for an ever so slight moment. And about a moment into that curb, I brush the brake, downshift, and turn left roughly at the same time. And you'll just have to work on that timing until you're able to consistently hit this mark. This is about perfect car placement. This is very, very friendly curbing. 2 tires on the track. If you're a regular stringent kind of person, then you can actually cross over here and it just changes your entry a little bit. There's a caution box right there that you can use. And car placement is not exceptionally critical. As long as you're entering this next corner from the middle of the corner or maybe a little bit left, you're fine. There's not a critical place you need to be. Once you're into that corner, though, the one thing I will say is this corner to me rivals the famous curb in Baku that just jacks your car up. This curb is evil. It will spin you out. You can kiss it a little bit if you're very daring. The Leclerc AI car did that a lot when I was in this race. But I would say the best course of action is I actually kind of overcooked this corner a little bit just on purpose, just to make sure that I can't get my car to that curb. So once we're around a straightaway, there's 2 ways around this. I'm going to show you the proper way first, proper by FIA rules. And I'm going to start my braking at, or in this case, a little bit before the 50. We're going to stay in a nice straight line until we're able to turn right in such a way that we basically are able to put 2 tires on this curb. This may have been a little bit early because you can see I've got a nice line on the sausage curbs, and this is what you don't really want. Those curbs will try to jack your car up, and what you really want to do is kind of go curb, curb, and just thread that needle through this little chicane. Same as we did before. 2 tires on the flat part of the curb, not on the sausage curb, and then you'll track out to exit. But here's the alternate way, and this would involve turning a little bit earlier and keeping the wheel straighter, and honestly, this will save you like half a second. As long as you have, if you're on regular corner cutting stringency, it will let you have a lot here. And you want to have just left side tires touching something red and white as you go over the first curb, and right side tires touching something red and white as you go over the first one. And basically, as long as you don't hit that little rumble strip on regular corner cutting stringency, it seems to let you have it. This might be something you consider for a qualifying lap, is about what I would say. For the most part in the race, I ran it pretty honest, but I did run it a couple of laps just to demonstrate on here how you want to do it, as I had forgot to record that earlier. Now, as you start going into the next straightaway, this is a section where I would say when you first start learning the track, right here is the last time you will touch your brake until we get to, and I'm going to go a long way ahead for a moment, until we get here, a long way around the track. And the numbering slips me at the moment. But back to where we were. So all of this is just about lifting the throttle, not hitting the brakes. Right here is where you will hit your brakes for the last time until that point I just showed you. I use this caution box to tell me when to hit the brakes, but a lot of it's just about rhythm. You might use that power line as well, and it's just kind of an index of how far are you away from it. So get in. It's a little bit of brakes. I'm in 4th gear here, but you may even consider 5th gear. Use this curb and hold the car on the left side of the track when you come off at exit. Now, this is not where I always was. I might have been out of width before I pulled it back in. And notice, no brakes. What you want to work at first is a lift. Now, as you realize how fast these sequences of corners are, you might introduce a little bit of brake. If you go watch my my regular laps, I do use just an ever so light bump of the brake to make it get around this corner. But when you're first trying to learn the track and you're doing that, you're probably going to overslow the corner. Again, just no brakes. You're giving it back to the gas. And this time you are going to want to go all the way to track left. This curbing is very friendly. The car placement here is not crucial. I wouldn't say it's even important to get all the way right of the track. But somewhere in the center of the track, you want to be able to hug this corner as you go around and keep it pretty much on the left side of the track all the way around this corner. And as long as you're able to do that, you're golden and you're winning. The next place where car placement is actually crucial, and it's actually a very fast corner, is right here. You want to make sure that as you go around that little left bend, that you're able to get the car parallel to that red and white curb. Now, remember, when you're learning the track, I would say your first few laps, work on not using the brake here. Work on lifting and slowing down. And then as you start to really get this corner down, then charge into it a little bit harder and just a little bit of brake. And I'm talking about, if you watch my bars, you might only see like 3 or 4 bars of brake, just a little bit of brake for a little bit of a moment to kind of set the car. And that brake or lift or whatever is going to be done as you're parallel with this curb. You will turn late enough that you're able to get to this curb, that you still make it to this curb, but and you want to use 2 over on the exit. Now, if you're on regular corner cutting stringency, you can use a lot of this overflow as long as you snatch the car, I wouldn't say snatch, but pull the car in pretty quickly and get it back on the track surface before the end of this red and white curb. If you find yourself consistently going out there every single lap, then you need to back up to here and start moving your turn-in point down the track. Because that's the reason you're going out there, is because you're turning too early. And that's what I mean by this. Now, and then as you start getting a good rhythm, then you introduce a little bit of a brake. And earlier I said don't brake until further notice. Well, when you're learning the track, this will be your next braking zone. I brake at about 75 going into this corner, maybe about 60 even, depending on lighter fuel load, grippier tires. And it's a pretty late turn. The rest of the track's all about late turning. It's hard to get to this corner if you're me, at least. But this is pretty much where I want to be. I would aim to get here and then let the car go back out on exit. Now, because it's going to be pretty important that we get back to the right half of the track pretty quickly, I would say that even if you're a regular corner cutting stringency person, that there's just no benefit in letting your car go out onto this runoff. You want to be pulling it back to the right here. Now, coming up, I use the bridge, and I'll be honest, most laps I don't even notice that box. It's just kind of a rhythm thing that once I drive past this bridge, I'm going to get hard on the brakes and I'm going to be out to the right side of the track. And this is going to be a late apex. I wouldn't say it's late apex to the point that you feel like you're driving past a corner, but you will turn a little late and start pulling it in. Now, if you're on this curb at the beginning of the corner, you're too early. You want to be about a width or so off. I got on the inside curb on the second half. If you look at where I'm at, I'm halfway through the corner. And you want to hold this for a while around this corner, until about halfway to the bridge at least. As you come off the corner, use the exit, and you notice the AI cars ahead. We're going to draw a line now to the outer edge of the track again. And this is going to be a very similar rhythm to the last corner. Again, there's another caution box, and there's actually this time a DRS detection line, and I probably hit my brakes somewhere between the two. And I drive in pretty deep. Now, I use this pit wall as I want to be getting into the curb around time I get to that pit entry wall. If I'm hugging this curb around here, then I'm going to be too slow. Late apex and kind of a diamond line through here is very effective. And you should be straight enough that as you come around the pit wall and you start seeing these painted marks on the inside curb, you should be able to start accelerating and be straight enough that you don't need the runoff. If you are using the runoff consistently and can't figure out a way to get off of it, then you need to come back to about here and drive into the corner a little bit deeper, straighter even, and then pull the car to the right a little bit later, and then you'll suddenly find that you're shooting it down this straightaway well. And that's how we run the Hungaroring, and now I will give you an uninterrupted lap. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like, as I was not well liked as a child, and I would like to get some likes now. Thank you very much.
Okay, even though we're seeing cars struggle in these conditions, if we pit for inters now, we're going to be too slow and we'll burn them out. Make the best of it for the time being.